Hey everyone, Gil Gross here. This is a pre-match thoughts video on the 2019 Wimbledon semifinals. Roberto Bautsita Agut against Novak Djokovic. And once again, Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer, a matchup we're all very excited for, especially Federer fans, because they were probably praying for this after the straightforward straight sets victory and Roland Garros. It moves to Federer's domain, but we're going to wait. We're going to save that for the end because, hey, there's a reason why in boxing and MMA the main event goes at the end, so everyone stays. No disrespect to Djokovic and RBA, it should be a really high-level tennis match. But before I even get into that, let's just quickly hit on the surface conditions because it's been hotly debated, and this is my take on the speed of the courts. So the numbers suggest that really since 2015, Wimbledon has played a lot slower. That in 16, 17, 18, and now 19, it's just been a lot slower in general, right? So this isn't a new thing this year. Wimbledon's been playing slower. And if you compare this year to the last couple years, the numbers suggest that it's playing even a little bit slower than it has previously. But it's a very kind of slight adjustment or a slight change between, let's say, this year and last year. But these numbers include things like ace rates and percentage of rallies under 3 shots. And when you have John Isner and Kevin Anderson go to the semifinals last year, it kind of skews those stats. So it's no surprise that this year the numbers say play is even slower, numbers like that. A lot of the players have said it's slower, sure, but some have denied it. So I kind of look at the results. That's kind of what I default to. You have, Sam Querrey not only beating Dominic Thiem, but making the quarterfinals. You have Mikhail Kukushkin in the 4th round. Like, these are things that would only happen on grass. So, these are not clay courts. The notion that they're playing on clay right now is a crazy notion. If you just look at the results and what has happened here, Kei Nishikori is in the quarterfinals. I don't think that would happen at Roland Garros. I mean, the list goes on and on. If you look at the results, it's not as grassy as last year where you have, again, Isner and Anderson, but the results are still they're still grass court results. They're not clay court results. So Dominic Thiem would be in right now if this were clay court. So that's my take on the conditions. Maybe a little slow, but very exaggerated by a lot of people. Okay, let's talk about the first semifinal. Djokovic and Roberto Bautsita Agut. I bet Djokovic was praying for Milos Raonic because once he returns the serve, he's set. I mean, Djokovic, I would be predicting a very straightforward, straight set victory for Djokovic if it was Raonic. But Raonic upset by Pela, and RBA goes through Pela. So it is Djokovic playing a guy who's beat him 3 times, who has played him 3 times at majors and won a set in all 3 of those meetings, although Djokovic has beaten him all 3 times. It's a dude who gives Djokovic trouble. And I think the main thing is Djokovic really can't beat him on consistency or steadiness. And if you look at the 2 matches that they've played this year in particular, Djokovic has not been in good enough form to really be proactive and create his own offense off the ground. It's been times where he hasn't really had his timing. He was not hitting his forehand big or very close to the lines. He wasn't taking his backhand down the line. He was hitting it mostly cross-court. And RBA is just a guy who you really need to create offense against. You're not going to win. He's not going to give you anything. He's David Ferrer like that way. So here's what RBA has kind of done. It's been the cross-court backhand, that pattern, where Djokovic is normally able to really break guys down because he's so much stronger trading cross-court backhands than 95% of his opponents and more consistent. But RBA is actually just as consistent and hits his cross-court backhand really well and really deep, just like Djokovic. And what RBA does mainly is he waits for his chance. He trades his backhand cross court and waits for his chance to run around and hit a forehand from the ad court. And that's his best offensive shot, and his best offensive pattern is when he's hitting forehands from the ad court where he can go inside out and inside in. He can play very close to the lines. He's very comfortable with those patterns. So hitting forehands from the ad court. Djokovic needs to focus on pulling him out wide to his forehand, making sure that RBA does not hit forehands from the ad court. And if he can play the cross-court forehand pattern, and if he can take his backhand down the line often, Djokovic should have that should help Djokovic. The big key with this matchup is, yes, best of 5 makes things tougher on RBA probably, but the biggest thing is Djokovic is in way better form right now than he was in Doha at the beginning of the year and Indian Wells which was the first tournament after the Australian Open. I'd say in both cases Djokovic is basically coming off vacation and not in form. That's the way I look at it. He's playing really well right now, Novak. He's hitting his forehand really big. He's off the ground right now. He's brilliant. So I think they play 3 close sets, and I think the tennis is really good, entertaining tennis. But I think Djokovic wins all 3 sets. Normally when I predict 3 sets, I think it's kind of a blowout, and I don't really think that. I actually think they play pretty close. I just don't see RBA getting over the hump in any particular juncture. So Djokovic in straights for that one. For Federer Nadal, I've kind of agonized over this pick, and I don't want to end this video without saying, in full disclosure, right now I'm in Rome, Italy. This is a business room at a hotel, and I had to miss the quarterfinals. It's a tough summer for me with this kind of thing. It's an amazing summer for me, but it's a tough summer for this channel. So I missed the quarterfinals, right? So it puts me at a disadvantage because I can't take any observations from there. But for most of this tournament, my observation is that Nadal is at a higher level than Federer, plain and simple. Just sharper tennis, less errors, more attacking, serving great, returning great, less kind of dips. Federer's backhand return, I felt, should be better than it has been when I've seen, which is a really important shot against Nadal, which he needs to kind of get that to where it needs to be. So I'm going to keep it pretty short. I feel like that's the area where I might lean Nadal is just in form. And the fact that he's hitting his serve as hard as he needs to, which is low 120s. He's hitting his backhand as well as he's ever hit his backhand, which is important on grass because he's got to hit more of them. And his return is pretty good. But the thing is, on this surface, the baseline play evens out because on a slower surface, because Nadal hits a lot bigger, he can hit through Federer easier, especially with his new attacking style. He hits through Federer easier, and Federer's forehand, for example, is just a lot less potent on a slower surface because he doesn't hit it as big as Nadal. Nadal can hurt Federer easier than Federer can hurt Nadal, even offensively these days. That's how big Nadal's hitting his forehand. But on grass, it evens out because the heaviness isn't as important, and it's more about a clean struck ball that's hitting the right place, variation and net play. On grass, Federer's able to create offense from anywhere, just like Nadal's able to create offense from anywhere, right? So it evens out. Now they're kind of on even playing fields, and it's a lot more about precision and shot making and racket skills and less defense than it would be. And because it's harder to play defense, and because it's more about precision and racket skills, and because Federer's first forehand is that much more potent on grass, and it's tougher for Nadal to neutralize Federer's first forehand, it really becomes about how points start. Because, by the way, that goes the same way for Nadal's first forehand, which has been such a massive focus with Carlos Moya. His first forehand after his serve. It's going to be hard for either player to neutralize. So here's the thing. This is going to come down to serve return, the serve return battle, which in very simple terms, how the point starts. Whoever starts points better is going to win. And on this surface, traditionally, Federer should, it's not a sure bet, it's not a guarantee, but Federer should outserve Nadal and win the serve return battle, because it's really not just about outserving someone. Because like if Isner played Federer, Isner would outserve Federer. That doesn't mean he would win the serve return battle, right? Because Isner wouldn't return very well. So I hesitate. I just want to use the right terminology. It's about winning the serve return battle, not really outserving, right? I expect Federer to attack Nadal's forehand return, because on grass, because of Nadal's more extreme forehand grip, it's difficult to play a blocking return with a lot of depth. It's easier with a less extreme grip to shorten the swing, hit more of a block return with a short swing, and get a lot of depth. With the extreme grip, that's harder. Part of the reason why Nadal kind of backs up further. So he can take a full swing. The backhand return, I think, has looked really good for Nadal. The forehand return, I think, sometimes lands short on this surface. So let's see if Federer goes after that. For Nadal, again, the variation of serve is going to be very key because Federer has started to lean on the out wide serve to the backhand, and on grass, Federer is able to put a lot of returns in play on this surface. He's pretty good at using the backhand chip kind of offensively off the return. He can do that especially like more on the second serve, right? He can maybe go line to Nadal's backhand. There's a couple things he can do on the return. But Nadal needs to serve really, really well. It's a little bit just more out of his domain and more in Federer's domain. It could happen, but I'm going with Federer, especially if you look at the way he's lost matches recently, whether that be against Millman or Kevin Anderson or this year Stefanos Tsitsipas. Federer just needs to capitalize on break points better and on big points better. And I think him coming in as the underdog at Wimbledon, I think he should use it as fire. And I'm wondering if Federer plays one of the more fierce kind of mental games, or one of the most fierce kind of mindsets that he takes onto the court in quite a while. Because for him to be the underdog on grass, which I think is what he feels, is quite the motivation for Federer. So I go Federer in 5 sets because I think Nadal's playing brilliantly. I think Federer's playing a little bit worse. I think Federer steps up the serving and steps up the game overall, takes this in 5 sets. I say that again. I agonized over this pick. Hope you enjoyed. Enjoy the matches. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.